Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you today with an article from PJ Media dated September 25th, and it is the FAFO, or F Around and Find Out, Consequences of Trump Derangement Syndrome, Lawfare, Cancel Culture, and Moide, as Bugs Bunny would say, I guess. It says future history books will draw a direct line between the hashtag resistance movement's anti-Trump hysteria and the tragic escalation of American-on-American political violence, domestic terrorism, Big Brother censorship, vote rigging, and lawfare, but not anytime soon. The author says, I'm talking about history books over 50 years from now, as too many educators, and scare quotes, with a vested interest in promoting a left-wing anti-MAGA reality. It says, but over the long arc of history, the truth has an uncanny knack at prevailing. As Ayn Rand noted, you can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality, because the truth is the truth, whether you like it or not. Sometimes the truth is painful, unforgiving, cruel, and uncaring. But until you recognize the truth for what it is, and not what you wished it to be, reality will continue to smack you upside the head. In the words of Republican President James Garfield, who was also a victim of left-wing political violence, the truth will set you free, but first it will make you miserable. I've never heard that quote, but yeah, that's pretty spot on. And today, the Democrats are miserable. It's the one common denominator between all the warring factions on the left, and it's a small sample of headlines over the last 2 months. Right here, so the Wall Street Journal says Democrats get lowest rating from voters in 35 years. NBC News says Democratic anger at their own party fuels 2026 primaries. Sky News, so that'd be the British version, not the Australian one, I would assume. Let me just take a look here. It's you. Let's see who this is. It is Australia. Okay, so the good one says Democrats humiliated after record low approval ratings are exposed. Newsweek has 0% of Democrats happy with state of the U.S. right now. Rolling Stone, the Democratic Party's brand is cooked. The Hill says Democrats alarmed over data showing voters fleeing to GOP. The L.A. Times says no magic fixes for Democrats as party confronts internal and fundraising struggles. Deep breath, still going. Politico says Democrats tumble in new poll. NPR says Democrats are unpopular with voters and trying to fix it. Newsweek again says Democrat net favorability plunges to near 3-decade low. And then from Fox News says CNN data guru, and that was the guy we just saw on the pop-up that I pulled up there. He claims Democrats are as unpopular as the Cracker Barrel reband. Wow, okay. Says, but today's Democrats aren't miserable because they finally, at long last, taken a long, hard look in the mirror. This is dealing with pesky reality will come later. Instead, the opposite is true. They're miserable over the unintended consequences of their own actions. As the Bible says, a man reaps what he sows. I said sows again. I did that in a video the other day. Reaps what he sows. Okay, I don't know why I keep saying sow. Okay, it says author Sarah Addison Allen phrased it a bit differently, but echoed the sentiment. Men of thoughtless actions are always surprised by the consequences. In Gen Z culture, it's called FAFO. Of course, that's F Around and Find Out. Which is why the Democratic Party is now the party of miserable, unhappy people. They're in the find out stage. They tried everything to destroy Donald Trump and the MAGA movement. Cancel culture, lawfare, excommunicating pro-Trump family members, banning conservatives from the media, gerrymandering, name-calling and doxing, horrible personal attacks, dehumanizing language, downplaying left-wing violence, and they felt perfectly entitled to do so because Trump, after all, was literally funny mustache German guy. That's the power of dehumanizing language. If you listen to it long enough, the enemy ceases to be a flesh and blood human. Instead, the enemy becomes a monster, and it's morally permissible to hunt and kill monsters. In fact, it's your moral obligation. Most of the Democrats' actions, however misguided, followed clear, linear logic. If Trump is literally funny mustache German guy, an enemy of democracy, and an existential threat to our country, then it's sensible to weaponize government apparatus against him, even when doing so is technically illegal. I don't even know if it's technically illegal, it's just illegal. The Supreme Court Justice Robert Jackson warned in the 1949 case Terminiello versus City of Chicago of the danger in turning the Constitutional Bill of Rights into a suicide pact. But our founding fathers also championed this idea. This is from Thomas Jefferson. It says, a strict observance of the written law is doubtless one of the high duties of a good citizen, but it is not the highest. The laws of necessity, of self-preservation, of saving our country when in danger are of higher obligation. To lose our country by a scrupulous adherence to the written law would be to lose the law itself with life, liberty, property, and all those who are enjoying them with us, thus absurdly sacrificing the ends to the means. From the radical left's point of view, they're still defenders of democracy, heroes of the republic, and American patriots, even when they tried lawfare, bogus legal charges, cancel culture, and decidedly non-democratic means to destroy the evil orange monster. It's not their fault, you see. Trump made them do it. Says, but their one logical inconsistency is now biting the donkeys on their jackarse. Nice. I haven't seen that word before, but I get it. Says, for some strange reason, I might use that word. It says, for some strange reason, it never dawned on them that the other side could use the exact same tactics against them. And that was something which is so stupid because it's like we warned you this was going to happen and you guys just kept pushing forward. And now that it's being used against you, it's like, oh, my stars and garters. How dare they? And as far as logical oversights go, yikes, that one's a doozy. Of course it is. It says, it's weird. Be like a husband cheating on his wife with the next door neighbor and then being flabbergasted when she files for divorce and jumps into the arms of another man. How could she? Says the Democratic Party is shocked. Shocked, I tell you. Because over the last few days, so-called cancel culture was used against a good, kind-hearted liberal like Jimmy Kimmel, merely because he spread misinformation about a major political assassination. It says that's not how this is supposed to work. It says GOP-led states are optimizing gerrymandering, a time-honored tool for Democrats to manipulate representative democracy. As we noted last month, it says Trump received 1.25 million votes in Massachusetts, winning 36% of the vote. The state has 0 Republicans in the House. Second bullet says Trump received 737,000 votes in Connecticut, winning 42% of the vote. The state has 0 Republicans in the House. And I think I did a video on this exact thing here too. Don't bother looking for it because I honestly don't remember for sure if I did and wouldn't be able to tell you when I put it out. So maybe it's there, maybe it's not. Anyway, third bullet says Trump received 423,000 votes in New Mexico, winning 46% of the vote. The state has 0 Republicans in the House. Trump received 2.49 million votes in Illinois, that's my state, winning 43.5% of the vote. Out of their 17 congressmen, there are only 3 Republicans. Trump received 3.6 million votes in New York, winning 43.3% of the vote. Out of their 26 congressmen, there are only 7 Republicans. And Trump received 6.1 million votes in California, winning 38.3% of the vote. And I wonder how much of that was illegal. We're probably going to find out fairly soon, maybe in the next election or so. Because out of their 52 congressmen, there are only 9 Republicans, which makes their howling, screaming, and hysterics over Texas's redistricting plans rather suspect. Right now, Texas, which hasn't voted for a Democratic presidential candidate in 50 years, has 38 congressional seats with 25 Republicans and 13 Democrats. That's a ratio far more forgiving than the ridiculously gerrymandered districts in blue states. But this is the strategy that's kept the Democrats afloat, in good times and bad. When Obama won the presidency in 2008, the Democrats won 52.9% of the votes in House elections, which somehow led to them controlling 59.1% of all the seats in the House of Representatives. And now, Lawfare is coming for the hashtag resistance crowd who flaunted legal precedent and invented novel legal theories to jail their political enemies. Once again, the Democrats are shocked. So headlines here, Washington Post says when the rule of law becomes the rule of lawfare. Politico, Trump is weaponizing the government against his enemies. I keep putting after each one of these like you might want to go take a long, hard look in the mirror. It says AP News, Trump ran on a promise of revenge. He's making good on it. Daily Beast, how Donald Trump twisted the DOJ to deliver the retribution he craves. Democracy Docket, who I've never heard of until I just read it right now, says Trump's chilling retribution campaign poses a grave threat to democracy. You know, of course it never did during the Obama and Biden administrations, just now when Trump's doing it. This Daily Journal says Trump's retribution campaign has tragic consequences for justice. PBS, Trump pushes Bondi to pursue cases against his foes as he ramps up retribution campaign. From Fox, Trump's DOJ is going after his enemies. CNN, Trump's legal retribution tour is getting more blatant. And The Nation, Donald Trump's corruption of the law is destroying American democracy. No, it's not. Again, you open the door, he's just walking through it. The Guardian says pattern of lawfare. Trump is targeting opponents with mortgage fraud claims, which happen to, seems like there's actually something there, if you know what I mean. There's never mind that just a few years earlier, Democrats like New York's Attorney General Letitia James, who is hinting at the mortgage fraud thing that I just read a moment ago, she ran for office under the explicit pledge to overturn a Democratic election and remove Donald Trump from office. She openly said so in her own campaign commercial, and you can certainly play it on your own time. I'm not going to do it here, but she said, I'm running for Attorney General because I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president when our fundamental rights are at stake. I believe that this president is incompetent. Yeah. Was it pot, meat, kettle? I believe that this president is ill-equipped to serve in the highest office of this land, and I believe that he is an embarrassment to all we stand for. He should be charged with obstructing justice. I believe that the President of these United States can be indicted for criminal offenses, and we would join with law enforcement and other attorneys general across the nation in removing this president from office. And the emphasis was added, of course, by the author. It says, the most clear-eyed Americans, this is a classic example of F around, find out. Today, Letitia James is under a federal investigation for mortgage fraud. Senator Chuck Schumer, Democrat of New York, of course, is shocked and outraged. He said turning the agency into an instrument that goes after his enemies, whether they're guilty or not, is the path to a dictatorship. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said on CNN. That's what dictatorships do. And again, completely ignoring what his own side did for, 12 years of Obama and Biden. From lawfare to gerrymandering to cancel culture to blaming left-wing violence on MAGA, the benefit of pretending that your political opponent is literally funny mustache German guy is obvious. It gives you a free hand to do whatever you want. Because your opponent is evil enough, the ends always justify the means. And the author says, I'll leave you with one final quote from The Simpsons, and at this point it ought to be the official motto of the DNC. And it's Homer Simpson saying, why do things that only happen to stupid people keep happening to me? It says, yeah, I can't imagine why. And then under here it says, okay, so that's just a disclaimer, so I don't need to read that one last thing part. So it ends with, yeah, I can't imagine why. So there you go. So, yeah, I mean, very good article here. Kind of summed up like, hey, you guys open this door and Trump is just walking through it. So you probably shouldn't be all aghast or shocked, as it said in the article, that this stuff is happening. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.